morning, everybody, and welcome to Pirate Board Game Breakfast. I'm Mike DiLisio.
I'm Chris Yee.
And I'm Dan Hughes.
And we are thrilled to have you here with us. We are taking over the airwaves, and we do what we want. That's why we're starting today at 9 a.m. local time, of course.
That's when the rebels wake up, Mike. That's when the rebels wake up is 9 a.m.
The crack
of
sunrise a few hours ago.
Well, sure. If you want to rebel, all the prime rebelling time is early in the morning when everyone else is asleep. That's when you got to do it.
10:30, that's about your rebelling window, I think.
Prime rebelling window.
Yeah, I scheduled ahead. I said 9 a.m. for the angry mob, please.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Just really quickly, I do want to point out a couple of logistical things regarding that. The next couple of Board Game Breakfast episodes will be at what was the regular 10 a.m. time, but then we're going to go back to 9 o'clock as kind of the standard Thursday breakfast time. We've always been 9 a.m. on our Monday breakfast. We had been 10 a.m. on our Thursday breakfast. You'll get the hang of things here soon. But next couple will be back at 10. Then we'll go back to a 9 a.m. Does that make sense to anybody?
New Year, New Rebellion. You got it.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, we are very, very happy to have you here. And some big news, gentlemen. Big news. Are you ready for the big news?
Oh, yeah.
Chris?
Oh, I thought my subtle glare was implicit. Yes, I'm very excited, Mike.
We've got a Kickstarter running for the 2022 Dice Tower. And I know that
by running, you mean
people are excited.
Launching.
We are launching next week on Tuesday, January 11th. And as Thomas said many times over, when you back the Dice Tower Kickstarter, you are really supporting the channel, the content that we create. Hopefully you enjoy the content that we create. Don't judge us all on shows like this one. We have a lot of good stuff out there, and we really do appreciate and value your support. But we do like to give a little something back, and so we've had some wonderful publisher partners that have helped us out with some promos, and we have a very special sneak peek at one of the promos that we're going to have on offer for the upcoming 2022 Dice Tower Kickstarter. And it's something that has a little bit of a connection to our Pirate Board Game Breakfast. Any guesses, Dan?
Well, I've heard it's a promo for the 2022 Spiel des Jahres and Game of the Year award. Is that right?
So you're already calling that this game that we have a promo for is going to be a Spiel des Jahres winner?
Despite the fact it's not being published in Germany, yes, Mike. I think they're going to make a special exception for this game.
I think it's going to be a hat trick. Kinderspiel, Spiel, and Kennerspiel all in one.
And one of the Tonys, which is going to be a surprise to absolutely everybody. Yeah. That's what I've heard.
The game we're talking about is Cora Quest, that was co-designed by Dan Hughes here and his daughter Cora. And this special promo character that we have was designed by Mr. Jimmy Vassal. We have a little video that's going to give you a little kind of a sneak peek behind the scenes of how this character was created. So let's cut to that video really quickly. That was so cool. I'm digging that.
Cool.
So
very adorable.
It's very, very cool. And so that's just one of the promos that we're going to have on offer for our 2022 Kickstarter. And so, Dan, you were kind of involved, I'm assuming, in how this thing all came about, right?
Yeah. Well, that's obviously that's Jimmy's art, but then my friend, our artist Gary, has put it all together. It's not only that promo, Mike. It's not only that promo. You're gonna get an entire adventure as well, based around a PDF adventure based around that character. Yeah. So it's all
very cool.
It's all good. It's all good. But yeah.
Very cool. We are excited, and we're very excited about the Kickstarter. So if you have it in your hearts to support us, we would definitely appreciate it. And keep your eyes open Tuesday, January 11th. All right. Well, we've got a great show. We've got some fantastic contributors that we're going to start off with, and then we're going to come back here for a game show that Chris has assured me is cutting edge. You've never seen anything like it, he said. Isn't that right, Chris?
Top of the line, new and improved, refurbished.
Nice.
Oh, okay. A refurbished game show. All right, well, let's get to the contributors, and then we'll be right back with a game show.
This week's Spotlight is brought to you by R&R Games. At the end of the 17th century, a French Benedictine monk in charge of the abbey cellar made an important contribution to differentiating champagnes from that region. It became possible to produce champagne of superior quality, particularly in ones made from the black grape varieties. In this game, you are responsible for one of the oldest Maison de Champagnes. You will produce and sell champagne all over Europe. Even to the other side of the Atlantic, the local economy will be boosted, employment increased, and your brand will become universally recognized. The game flows in a chain of actions that start in your vineyard. You will need to look for continuous improvement, constantly react to your opponents, and optimize your choices to build the most prestigious champagnes in the world. As the game progresses, the actions become more powerful and you will accomplish more in a single turn. Alongside these actions, you can turn your prestige achieved through your best champagne by your cellar's performance and your wealth into even more victory points. The player with the most victory points at the end of the game will be the winner. For more information, please go check out the campaign, which is now live on Kickstarter.
Hey, I'm Grant with Grant's Game Rex, and today I'm talking about the delightful little city builder, Happy City. This city is so joyful. It's really happy because there's no crime, and on every street corner they give out free churros. To be clear, the churros thing is not part of this game. It's just a story I've made up in my mind about why this city is so happy. Free churros! Everybody loves a churro! In Happy City, you don't have to go to an amusement park to get a churro. They just give them out. I want to live here. This game is very quick and simple. Very simple. Like, so simple that it's probably meant for kids type of simple. And I'm not here to tell anybody how to parent, but a game for kids about happiness? I mean, if you don't play this with your kids, do you even want them to be happy? In Happy City, you will be buying cards from the building supply and then adding them to your own personal city. Some cards will pay out coins for you, and at the end of the game, whoever has the happiest city wins, and happiness is determined by the number of hearts times the number of people in your city. Once somebody has 10 cards in their city, the game ends. If you win this game, you get the title of Happiest City. And if you lose this game, you get the title of Slightly Less Happy City. You're in a moderately happy city. Like Milwaukee.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the game show. Today's game show is titled Yes, But How Wrong? And you'll see why, because our two contestants here, Mr. Dan Hughes and Mr. Mike DiLisio, will get the opportunity to reassure each other that they are, in fact, wrong. But then the impetus is on them to say how wrong they are. So, Are you ready to treat each other in the most poor and unsportsmanlike fashion ever?
Always ready for a bit of mic bashing.
I feel like this game was tailor-made for us, Chris. Let's make it happen.
All right, fantastic. So let's see. Which of you would like to show yourself the more ungentlemanly and decide to go first?
I will go first because I am significantly younger than Mike, and therefore I should go first for some reason that I can't quite pass at this moment in time. Me, Chris, I'm going to go first.
All right. The ungentlemanly, unsportsmanlike award goes to Dan Hughes. He will get to go first. Dan, the first question is to you. This is going to be a numerical-based question that you are going to try to answer completely correctly.
Right.
And Mike, should he be wrong, you get the opportunity to say, Dan, you're wrong. And then I will, in reciprocation, ask you, Mike, yes, but how wrong is he? That's the title of the game show.
Okay.
So Mike, our contestants are ready. Dan, your first question today is, what is the population of Miami proper? Not Miami metropolitan.
Oh, I knew the population of Miami metropolitan.
Yeah. I know. That's why I'm flipping the script. What is the population of Miami proper?
I don't even know the difference. That's Miami City you're talking about, or you're talking about Miami, the county? I think it is.
Correct, city, not all the connected stuff.
500,000 people.
500,000 people.
I don't know.
This is ridiculous.
I've only ever seen Burn Notice, and there's at least 500,000 people in that, I'm sure.
All right, Dan, you could not be more wrong.
Okay.
I will be awarding points to people based on how close they are in their response. But Mike, you get a chance to steal the points from Dan. Mike, your job is to say what phrase now?
Dan, you couldn't be more wrong.
Yes, but how wrong is he, Mike? Is he off by a factor of ones or tens, hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions? How wrong is he? If you guess the correct factor by which he is off, you will steal the points.
Hang on a minute. Does he have to say negative or positive, though?
No.
Oh, what?
Just by
That's right,
just by
Dan.
what digits place is he?
That's right. That's how we do it here in the States.
Yeah.
All right. Chris, first of all, I appreciate how simple you kept the rules here. I'm going to say he's wrong by a factor of hundreds of thousands.
You think he's off by a factor of hundreds of thousands?
Oh, he's wrong by a big factor. A big factor.
I don't know.
Mike, unfortunately, that is incorrect.
What?
Dan's guess of 500,000 people for Miami proper is incredibly close to the 2020 census population of 467,963.
In your face, DiLisio.
Wow.
Mike, you could
What
have
has
stolen
happened to
points
the
from Dan
city
if
of
you-
Miami?
Yeah.
I think you might be thinking of Miami Metropolitan. So let's go to the score.
Yeah.
Common mistake.
Exactly. Absolutely. So Dan,
Rookie mistake, some might say, Mike.
Dan, you were so close. You were 6.8% off of the correct answer. That is 5 points for Dan.
5 points, baby. Oh yeah.
I have no idea what's happening. We've got factors, we've got decimals.
This is what happens to you when you put an accountant in charge of a quiz,
Right.
Mike.
Exactly. We have an accountant game show. Wow.
Yeah.
Is
All
this
right,
the
well-
kind of stuff that would happen at the accountant conventions, Chris? Would you have game shows like this? It would get really wild, I bet.
They were even more boring than this, Mike. Listen to you.
Wow. Okay.
Mike, in our attempt here on Pirate Breakfast, what we're trying to do is pirate has such a negative connotation. We're trying to bridge the connection across the seas here. So, Mike, the question for you is, what is the population of Huddersfield?
Okay, now is that Huddersfield proper or the Huddersfield Metropolitan?
Any fool knows it's Kirklees Metropolitan County District, not Huddersfield District. Idiot.
All right. The population of Huddersfield. Wow.
You've been there, Mike. You need to know this.
Yeah, well, I have. Does this answer have to be in pounds or okay?
Pound sterling, please.
All right. I'm going to say that the population of Huddersfield. Now, is this counting Dan and his family?
I'll allow it.
Okay. I'm going to go with 25,000 individuals.
25,000. So, Dan,
Yes.
you say your phrase?
Mike,
Yeah.
not only are you hideous looking, but you are also wrong.
I don't think that you've taken the spirit of this game show well, but Dan, okay.
Yes, Dan, but how wrong is he? Is he off by ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions?
He's
Googles.
off. He's off by tens of thousands. And I will even say, I think he's off by about 40,000. I've got no idea, actually. This is really going to expose me.
Mike, Dan, you said tens of thousands.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that is incorrect. Mike DiLisio was off by 147,607 people.
Yes. Wait,
Well, that
how
is
many
still
people
tens of
live in
thousands.
Huddersfield?
It's just 14 tens of thousands. That's all.
That's 14 tens of thousands, which falls into what's called the hundreds of thousands category. So
Dan,
I'm sorry to have to
thought you
teach
said
math.
you lived in a village, a hamlet. You live in a bustling metropolitan, a cesspit of people. You're surrounded by people.
Cesspit.
Yes.
Right.
Well, that you said it, not me, Dan.
All right. Well,
Mike, here's the thing.
just
The actual
wait.
population of Huddersfield is 172,000, and you were very far off on your guess. How
Yeah.
wrong you were by 147,000 is going to earn you 1 point. So Dan has 5 points. Mike has 1 point as of now.
I think there's a flaw in this game, but all right.
All right. So we're going to move on to the next round. We're returning to our original contestant, Dan. Mike, make sure to be quick on the draw. As soon as Dan says his number, you are eligible to state just how incorrect you think that he is.
That's fantastic.
Actually, state first that he is wrong,
Oh,
so that I get to say the name.
I'll
of the
state
show.
he's wrong. Make no mistake.
All right. No, you know what? We're going to stay with Mike first.
What?
And then we'll go to Dan this time.
Right.
Yeah,
Dan, I feel like
think,
I'm in a fever dream. I don't know about you, but all right.
I think that Mike has shown some truly unsportsmanlike conduct. And so, therefore, we're going to start with him now.
All right.
Mike, there's a little show, a little known TV show from across the pond called Doctor Who. Are you familiar?
Who?
Oh.
You see what I did there? Yeah, I've heard of it, Chris. I've heard of it.
Dan, what is the claim to fame, the connection between Doctor Who and Huddersfield right now?
Right now, well, the doctor herself is from the town of Huddersfield. Yes.
Yeah.
Jodie Whittaker.
That is fantastic. So,
Yes.
Mike, your question is, how many episodes of Doctor Who in the entire run of the show have there been?
Interesting.
I'm going to be terrible at this. I have nothing against Doctor Who. I've seen an episode here and there, but I'm definitely not. What are they called?
You told me you
Whovians?
think everyone who watches Doctor Who's an idiot, Mike. You said
Dan,
that's what you said to me.
this is not called slander the game show. This is not. That is outrageous, and I won't stand for it. Thankfully, I'm sitting. Total number of episodes of Doctor Who. I'm going to go with 247. I'm getting laughed at from the peanut gallery over here. 247.
All right,
Mike,
Dan, you're
not only do you stink like a rotten Dalek,
I
But
feel
you're
like you're
wrong.
taking this game show in a different direction, Dan. All right.
yes, Dan, but how wrong is he?
he's wrong in the tens, I think. I think he's wrong in the tens.
In the tens. Okay.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for you, Dan, Mike was more wrong than that. In
I should
total,
always go with him being more wrong.
you should. It rhymes with moron. So anyway,
Yeah.
the total number of episodes of Doctor Who is 862.
Ooh.
Ooh.
So Mike DiLisio was off by a factor of hundreds. He was 615 off. Now, with that percentage, that was a little bit better than your population of Huddersfield guess. So, Mike, that earns you 2 points.
That's right.
points. So the score is currently Dan 5 and Mike 3.
I'm not convinced he's got that right. 800 episodes of Doctor Who. We only ever have 6 episodes a season in the UK.
That's what I thought. You have really short seasons over there. So, all right.
Anyway, we'll believe him for now, and then we'll pour ridicule on him when we've had a chance to Google.
Indeed.
All right. Yes. Now, Dan.
Yes.
Let's go to an American staple television show that has appealed to children of all time periods, including when Sir Mike DiLisio was a lad.
Mm-hmm.
And the show is called Captain Kangaroo.
Oh.
Dan, how many episodes of Captain Kangaroo are there?
Well, I've never seen an episode of Captain Kangaroo, and I would have assumed.
Nor have I.
I would have assumed it was Australia.
What's the matter with you people? How can you have had a childhood with no Captain Kangaroo? This is outrageous.
You said the same about smallpox, though, Mike. I'm going to say
touché.
There's been 300 because that's just like a year's run. Is 300? Oh, it could be daily. Was it a daily show, Mike? Was it a daily show?
I will tell you nothing, Dan.
300. I'm saying.
Dan, you're wrong. You're so wrong.
Yes, Mike.
On the scale of wrongness. You said 300 episodes?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right. I want to say when Captain Kangaroo finished his run, he was 175 years old. So I'm going to say you're wrong by hundreds, Dan.
Mike, unfortunately, Dan was so wrong. He was off by thousands.
Thousands?
I almost went
6,090 episodes of Captain Kangaroo.
Now,
6,000.
That's almost as many videos as Dice Tower puts out a week.
We're getting there. We're trying to get to Captain Kangaroo numbers, Dan. We're working on it.
Well, they would have all been fresh and innovative episodes, I'm sure.
Absolutely no rehash, no refurbishing.
No. Yeah. So it was daily then, Mike.
It was, I think it was a daily show.
Yes. Now, Captain Kangaroo's his shows were about as innovative as my show is here, which is in fact kind of a riff off of Z's show called You Are Wrong.
That is correct.
But this is a nice little twist on it. Dan, you were so far off. I'm going to give you 1 point.
1 point.
Yeah, 1 point. So Dan's score is currently 6, and Mike currently has 3.
All right, here we go. Here's where Mike turns the tables.
Isn't that the end of the quiz, though? Isn't that the end of the quiz?
We're going to be going to, let's see. No, there's going to be one more question for each of y'all. Okay.
All right.
Starting with Dan, you are the first person, and we're going to end with Mike. So, Dan.
End with the best. I agree, Chris.
Dan, how many meters between Huddersfield, England, and Miami, Florida?
See, again, this is where I prove my complete ignorance. I'm going to say, oh, no. Oh, no. Right. So, yeah. I'm going to say a million meters. A million meters. I started thinking there's 100 meters in the kilometer. I reckon it's about 3,000. And then I had to add noughts on, and this isn't my forte, Chris. You've
strangely nautical miles is not.
I mean, these weird weights and measures and balances and these obscure arcane. I mean, everything is like Harry Potter over there.
I could have asked how many hogshead. Yeah, I could have asked how many hogshead it is between Miami and Huddersfield. But no, Mike, what is your response? Dan,
you're certainly wrong. You said
yes, but how wrong is he, Mike?
Hundreds of thousands, Chris. I have no confidence in any of these answers. Hundreds of thousands.
Mike, unfortunately, you went too low. Dan was off by a factor of millions.
Oh my God!
Wow!
It is 6.9 million meters between Huddersfield, England, and Miami, Florida.
Not
Dan,
far
that
enough,
is-
you ask me.
Dan,
Yeah.
that's going to award you 2 points.
Yes!
For that guess, yes.
I
So
don't know
currently
why.
Dan's
That's
score is,
excessively generous, but still.
Yeah, I agree.
hey, 1 million compared to 7 million. That's close. That's closer than that's closer than some of the answers that have thus been rendered. So,
Okay, that's
Mike,
fine.
you are behind by
Yes.
5 points.
All right.
If you can guess this last question spot on, you will win a full 5 points.
Oh, that's fantastic, Chris. I'm feeling really, really confident.
Good. Now, this last question, this is going to bridge the gap. Dan is from a hamlet, a stick in the mud, if you will, of a town called
That's what he'd have you
Huddersfield.
believe, but I think we know better now.
Well, Dan went on a letter writing campaign a few years back, urging
Uh-huh.
some of the greatest game designers in our profession
Mhm.
to set their games in his luscious little
You need a new
little town
thesaurus,
of
Chris.
Huddersfield.
You need a new thesaurus. I think.
Yes.
Yeah, three times luscious, Dan. You like that?
Yeah. It is actually pretty nice, the shots that he did. Now, one game did come out of Dan Hughes' campaign, can be attributed directly to him, and that is called Monopoly Huddersfield Edition. Mike, your question is,
There's actually another one,
How-
Chris, but that's okay.
how many ratings on BoardGameGeek.com
Oh,
are there for Monopoly Huddersfield Edition?
Dan, did you rate it?
You wouldn't tell me if Captain Kangaroo was daily or weekly.
All right.
We own
Chris,
it.
you do?
My daughter does, yeah.
All right. So the Venn diagram of people that own Monopoly Huddersfield and are aware of Board Game Geek is probably sitting right here on the stream with us. I'm going to say 2 people rated it, Chris, and I think I got this is my only shot. I need 5 points. 2, Chris.
Oh, Mike. Sorry, I forgot. You're
Yes.
wrong.
Yes, Dan.
Not only
Yes,
you
Dan,
have
but
the
how
dress-
wrong is he?
I haven't finished talking yet. Not only do you have the dress sense of an 80-year-old Florida retiree, but you're also wrong about this because you're wrong by ones because I reckon no one rated it.
I thought
Ooh.
maybe no one did, but I don't know.
Wow. Unfortunately, Dan is able to steal those points, Mike. Dan has earned 5 points, putting him to 13 to your 3. Because, in fact,
I hate
there is
everything about
one
this
rating.
game.
There is one rating of Monopoly Huddersfield Edition on Board Game Geek.
Wait, well, how did he get the 5 points? He said 0. He didn't say 1.
I said you were out by ones. Just suck it up, loser.
Indeed.
I'm going to go
Now,
on
yes.
BGG right now and I'm going to rate this game. And let me tell you something, Dan. You're not going to like what I write.
All right. Well, that was Yes, But How Wrong. I hope that you enjoyed that. I hope you enjoyed watching Mike get completely demolished by our enemies in England.
Pwned.
Chris,
That's
I
what,
mean our
that's
friend.
what you used to call it, isn't it, Chris? Pwned. Did I pwn him?
Chris, that
Oh,
was a
yes.
luscious game.
Thank you. Thank you, Double DiLisio. All right, everybody. That's our game show for today. We're going to jump over to some more contributors, and then we'll be back for the news.
Ooh.
Hi, this is Ambi from Board Game Blitz, and for one of my first Board Game Breakfast segments, I talked about playing games with my, at the time, 9-month-old babies. But since then, time has passed, and those babies are now 2 years old, which is super exciting because... See? Okay, so last year, I might have gotten a little carried away buying these Haba My Very First Games games, which are for 2-year-olds. So I got like these 5 games. I bought these 5 games on a sale, and then I got this one as a gift, and then this one was a review copy, and then most recently at my FLGS I saw this one, which we don't have yet, and I bought this. So we have quite a few games to play. If you'd like overviews of any of these games, I've started making some on my channel in song form. But my kids still haven't played a full game by the rules yet. We're really close with Nibble Munch Crunch and Hungry as a Bear. This one involves putting food shapes into cutouts and then feeding them to the animals. And this one involves giving different colored foods to the bear by putting it on a spoon and putting it in his mouth. I do want my kids to love gaming as they grow up, so I don't want to force it on them, even though buying all these games might look like that. But they only play games if they want to and they like it. Sometimes I'll suggest board gaming as an activity, but I only go into the room and get the games if they ask for it. And in fact, I don't even need to go into the room and get the games because my kids will go into the game room and pull out the games from the shelves and put them on the table themselves. They also like putting the games back in the boxes and putting them back on the shelf, putting it away. So that's nice for me. I hope my kids continue liking board games because even though I've tried unsuccessfully to slow down on getting new children's games, I'm super excited for all the new games that are coming out for older kids. If you game with your kids, let me know of any fun stories and let me know what your current favorite games are. Thanks for watching Board Game Blitz. Bye!
Hey, Board Game Breakfast, BJ from Board Game Gumbo here, back this time talking about a game that has really impressed us lately, and it's called Cape May from Thunderworks Games. What did I like about this? Well, I love the game New York 1901. It's always been one of our top 10 games, but there hasn't been a lot of content that has come out since it came out back in 2015. So then we saw Cape May, and the publisher sent us a review copy, and we got the chance to play it. And I'll tell you right away, it gave me the kind of a vibe of New York 1901 in that you're putting out buildings and you're trying to upgrade them, but it's got a couple of cool mechanics. The first twist is that each turn, the active player is going to flip over one of the events that represent the historical things that have happened to Cape May, New Jersey, a seaside resort where people can bird watch and they have beautiful lighthouses. Those events are things you have to either get a bonus from or to deal with during the round, like maybe a fire on the block you were planning on building on. Number two, there's an income track, and we love this mechanic. A delicate balance between putting out shops to get lots of money but no points at the end of the game, or building out these beautiful Victorian cottages and upgrading them into landmark buildings, which are worth a lot of points at the end of the game. Knowing when to build up that engine of economy and when to just run it to try to spread out across the town is a delicious decision that we really enjoyed. My wife also liked the set collecting of the birds. It was kind of thematic to the area of Cape May from what we understand, and it was like a little hidden points that you couldn't really see how the other players were doing. All in all, we really enjoyed Cape May, and we're looking forward to playing more. And don't forget about that sweet little lanyard with Cape May. You got these beautiful plastic buildings that represents the shops and the Victorian cottages, and also those fun little bird tokens. Until next time, laissez les bon temps rouler.
All right, gentlemen, here we are. We're ready for the news. I'm going to get on my official news reading specs. Here we go. That means that we're getting real. Are you ready, gentlemen?
Hey, did Dan Rather just walk into the room?
Well, I know. I've been mistaken many times by so many famous and handsome news anchors, Chris. You have no idea. It's really a curse, honestly. All right. First, we're going to start off talking about a living card game, and that is the Lord of the Rings card game. Yeah, that is a living card game, right?
Yes, it's a living card game,
yeah. Yes.
What do you do for a living again, Mike? I've forgotten.
Look, Dan, the distinction between living card game and collectible card game, I'm not a huge fan of this style of card games, but I know that I'm kind of in the minority there, I think. A lot of people love these. Fantasy Flight has announced new starter decks for the Lord of the Rings card game, and there's going to be 4 decks in the initial set, all representing a different faction. You've got the dwarves, the elves, the defenders of Gondor, and the riders of Rohan. And they came out with a revised core set. So I think that's kind of what this is about. These are new starter decks for that. So I have played the Lord of the Rings card game one time. And I thought it was kind of cool, but I knew it was just something that I wasn't going to, go down that rabbit hole. Have either of you played it?
Yeah, I played it. It's really hard. It's like really hard. I think it was the first cooperative kind of living card game. It's kind of what spawned Arkham Horror and then Marvel Champions and all that kind of stuff. It's like the granddaddy of them all, isn't it? It's really hard. It's good, but it's really hard. And it's so old now. It's good that they're getting a jumping on point for people. Really,
I'm surprised this is still getting supported. I mean, because
Yeah.
of how good Arkham Horror card game and Marvel Champions are being received. That's cool. I mean, they purged a lot of their LCGs over the years, so good for the fans of this one.
Yeah, they're saying these decks are a good starting point for beginner players. Or who would like to build their decks apart from those that are in the revised core set. So I don't know. I mean, this is still a very, very popular IP. New people are coming into the hobby every day. I think it's cool. It's probably going to attract some new fans. So
I wonder if the new Amazon Lord of the Rings show will kind of help bolster the interest in that IP as well. Not a bad time to be supporting it.
That's
probably why they are doing it, to be fair.
Yeah, that's probably true. All right, moving on, we've got an expansion announced for a game that is very new from the renowned, acclaimed, what was the word you used? Luscious designer Reiner Knizia. That game was called Witchstone, and it was kind of from what I understand, I haven't played it yet, a riff off of Ingenious, but with some more going on. It was a co-design, and this is called Witchstone Full Moon. And so we can see some work in progress art. This doesn't look like it's quite the final art, but probably pretty close. And so it looks like you have new abilities, and there's 3D miniatures, because look, if there's anything that I think of when I think of Reiner Knizia games, it's 3D miniatures, right?
Yeah. He's all about it.
Ingenious is a little tile laying game where you try to match patterns. Is that right?
Yeah, kind of like almost like a riff off of almost like a Quirkle type of a thing, but
it's really unusual for Reiner Knizia to be riffing off another one of his designs as well, breaking new ground, which is interesting for him.
He can oftentimes be an iterative designer. That is very true.
The man's a genius. He can do whatever he wants, as far as I'm concerned.
I agree 100%. Yeah. I agree. But Witchstone was a game that I actually was looking forward to playing. I know I know Tom played it, and I think he reviewed it. So, maybe we'll check this one out when it comes through. But this is more for Witchstone. If you played that game, now you have some more to play with.
Try it.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of expansions, we've got actually the second expansion announced for another new game. This is for Maglev Metro. This is a game that I like quite a bit. I know, Chris, you liked it quite a bit. Dan, I don't know if you've played it.
I've not played this one, no.
Yeah. But yeah, Maglev Metro from Bezier is a kind of a pick up and deliver style game. And they had already announced a couple of expansions, but here's two more. And these are location based. This is Paris and London. It says you must unlock districts on the London game board in order to build there, while in Paris, you have to anticipate Union strikes that'll shut down stations during particular turns. So that's a really interesting thing. So it looks like they're adding new mechanics. Now, also, it looks like these two expansion maps are designed by Dale Yu, whereas the original game was designed by Ted Alspach. So I really am excited to see. I'm glad to see that they're going to be supporting this game so much.
The box cover looks a lot nicer than the original as well. I'll tell you that much. It's I like. Well, saying that, I don't know if it really fits half and half, but both of the halves alike. I just don't know if they mesh together very well.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. I like the game quite a bit. It's a really good kind of subway building thing, and I've heard that, or I read somewhere that one of these maps, I think all of the stations start out on the map, and so normally you're kind of discovering and you're building up the stations, and so this one, everything's out there. Like it sounds like they're going to make some good changes to it, and because my first thought was, yay, a second expansion announced for a game that the first expansion hasn't even come out yet.
Right.
But both of them sound really intriguing, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm all for it. Looking forward to it. Speaking of expansion materials, let's jump into the world of Board and Dice, a publisher that has really, made a name for themselves over the last few years. Some very big games coming from Board and Dice over the last few years, and we've got some expansions. First is an expansion that's due out in March of this year for the game Mandala Stones, which is a abstract style game. A lot of people compare it to Azul, although to me it doesn't really feel like Azul. I know it has kind of a visual similarity maybe, but this is called Harmony, and it consists of a dozen new wild stones that allow you to create more combinations. Chris, did you play Mandala Stones?
I haven't, no.
Dan?
Nope. Sorry.
Shameful. Really, this is shameful.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm here is all I'm saying. So, yeah, Mandala Stones, I we'll see. We'll see how this changes things up. But this is also something that's interesting. I think, Chris, you're probably pretty jazzed about this loot box. I love the name of that. Loot box number 1, also in March 2022, which contains variants and promo material for Tawantinsuyu, Tekkenu, Teotihuacan, Origin's First Builders, and Chris's Game of the Century, Zapotec.
Game of the Century. Now let's not get a little carried away. This is not triple luscious territory, but no, I don't know how I feel about this, right? Because
come on, Chris. I wanted you to hype this up. You had to be the hype man.
Woo! Zapotec. No, this is the weird thing, right? For people that own like 2 of these games, this is kind of like the
right.
But we've seen this before in the advent calendar boxes, right?
Yes.
That come out each year, that by Frosted Games and stuff. They're cool in concept. I'm not sure how material each of these changes will be.
Sure.
For 5 different games, but I did read about the Zapotec one, and I thought, oh, that sounds really neat, actually. And I think that it's just kind of some starting resources, right? Because, Mike, as you know, in Zapotec, your first turn is basically lay out a building, and then turns 2 through 5, you can do some of the more exciting stuff. This is like if I'm understanding correctly, this is like a Terraforming Mars prelude, where you can start with some advanced resources from turn 1, do some more of the interesting things in the game. I like the sound of that. I don't love that it comes in a box with also Tawantinsuyu and Origins promos that I don't know if I'll use.
Yeah.
But also,
woo! There you go. Bringing that hype, Chris. Yeah, no, to me, it's going to depend upon price point and scale. Like you said, I get the impression that these are going to be pretty small little promo type things that are not going to be very much. If they keep the retail price of it down, I think it could be cool. We'll see. Yes. All right, moving on to some interesting news. Not that everything else wasn't interesting, but this one was interesting in the sense that this is coming from Corey Kineska, and he had launched this new studio called Unexpected Games in April of last year with the game The Initiative, which was, they did some really interesting marketing to kind of launch the studio and launch with this game. It was kind of a puzzle type game. And they've announced the next game, the follow-up game called Voices in My Head. So there's a couple of things here. Nothing about the game as far there's very little I know. It says that it's a 3 to 6 player game where they step into a courtroom and into the mind of a man on trial for robbing a bank, and one player takes on the role. The prosecutor is trying to convict the defendant and send him to prison. Everyone else is taking on aspects of that person's personality, such as honesty or selfishness. So the game may be very interesting mechanically. I need to talk about the cover. This has been a topic of conversation here in the studio. I absolutely hate this cover. I had a very strong visceral reaction when I first saw it. It reminds me of like a bad early 90s Jim Carrey movie VHS tape cover. I just really don't like it, and I don't exactly know why. Other people here in the studio have different opinions, like Mr. Tom Vassell, who is harumphing. He likes the cover a lot. I hate it.
He's enamored with it, one would say.
You might say he's enamored with it.
There was was it 90s or 2000s comedy with Eddie Murphy, wasn't it? In a very similar kind of people in someone's head and things like that.
Yeah. There was also that TV show Herman's Head that was out. I don't know I don't even necessarily know that I hate the theme. The theme might be fine. I'm open-minded to the game and all that. I just was really put off by the cover. And so what do you guys think about the game in general?
It looks like, the cover really quick. It looks like a cover from The Sims in the early 2000s.
Yeah, it has that art style. Sure.
Starring Rodney Smith, by the looks of it.
Does have a Rodney Smith vibe there too. Yes.
Yeah. I like the concept of the game. I think it's quite interesting. I've got a real, and it's a drummer bang quite a lot, so you'll have to forgive me. But I've got a real problem with with the title of the game. I think it doesn't do anything to kind of destigmatize schizophrenia, mental health problems, and things like that. Because this isn't a game about people who experiences voices, but the title kind of indicates it is, and treats it in quite a jokey manner and things like that. And again, I don't mean to go on about it too long, but I think schizophrenia is a horrendous disease, and I don't like it being made light of. And I'm sure that wasn't the intent, but it can certainly be read that way. And I think it's stigmatizing. So I'd rather them called it something else. But the actual concept of the game is fine. That's all right.
Yeah, just as a background, I mean, you are a mental health nurse, Dan.
Yes,
so just as a little bit of background there. So
it's my drum I beat. But yes.
Yeah. Chris, I'm sorry.
No, and you're right, Dan. Right, the what you're actually doing in the game is not on that topic. It's more about, hey, do I the other players that are playing the one person on trial, I guess, are trying to invest, so to speak, in different lengths of how honest is this person going to be.
It's about. It's kind of like Inside Out, isn't it? The thing. It's that, and that's great. It's just the term voices in my head isn't a very positive term, really.
I agree.
And so with Dan mentioning the title and me going off about the cover, I do want to say I hope the game is good, and I have a very open mind about the gameplay, and I appreciate that Corey Konieczka seems to be trying to go outside of the the kind of the standard mode. He's trying different things. I'm all for innovation, pushing different ideas. So I hope it's a game that I love, and we'll see. And it does seem to at least be trying to do something different.
And
it looks interesting.
And I think that having played The Initiative, his first game from Unexpected Studios, we were several of us were kind of taken aback, like, oh, that's what this game is. I think that I'm hoping to go into this game with a little bit more of a mindset of, oh, cool, let's try something a little bit more experimental almost. And I think hopefully going to the better mindset should make this a fun experience.
All right, moving into the world of Magic the Gathering. This was very interesting to me, and partially probably because I'm pretty ignorant to the world of Magic the Gathering. But Wizards of the Coast announced Secret Lair, the Astrology Lands, a new series of Magic the Gathering drop sets that are going to be released April 29th of this year with a pre-order date that was 2 days ago. So the pre-order is already open for this. So it says these new drop sets are going to feature a basic land type coupled with art alluding to an astrological sign. And then each month, Wizards is going to offer a different land type for each sign available through the end of the years. It said it's not a print-on-demand item. It's only going to be available while the printed stock lasts. So, that's going to lead to probably massive FOMO, aftermarket, all that kind of stuff, which is already probably, again, I'm somewhat ignorant to the world of Magic, but I do know that aftermarket Magic prices go very high. It says the first of these sets to market is the Astrology Lands Capricorn. So they're starting with Capricorn. Available in foil for $39.99, non-foil for $29, and then they've got bundles that come with 5 of these sets. So I really, is this a big, crossover between people that are into astrology and people that are into Magic the Gathering? Or is it just going to be people that love Magic and want to have everything for Magic and want something that's rare that are going to go into this?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's just another kind of Franklin Plate type stuff, isn't it? I think it's just a money making scheme, not to be too cynical about it, but they're just doing it to create demand. $39 for the
foil. For the foil, yeah.
Is that like a shiny card?
Yeah, it's got the kind of shine to it. Yes.
Yeah. Well, buy that if you want to, but you're a fool. Although it'll go up in money, so maybe you're not. And it's ugly as well. Look at it.
I do not love the look of it.
I don't know that I dislike it. I mean, it's very, here's my word, Dan. Are you ready?
Yeah.
It's very garish. It's very, very garish. Yeah. But I do feel like that's the look they're going for.
Well, yeah, if they're going for ugly, then they've made it. Yeah, that's
It does seem, and again, this is coming from a place of relative ignorance. I state that up front. It does seem that Wizards are kind of taking Magic in some different directions. I don't know. They did a crossover with D&D recently.
That's what I'm saying. It's like those plates people collect on the wall.
Yeah.
Got Doctor Who, and one's got Dragon on, and one's got the Smurf. So we'll have a Smurf magic set soon.
Ooh, yeah. Count me out on that one, Dan.
Yeah. I don't know. Look, there's tremendous value that are wrapped up in these products, so they must know what they're doing. I'll give them that.
Oh yeah, they know what they're doing.
Ultimately, yes, they know how to print money, and I think that this is another limited edition way to make money.
There you go. All right, moving on. Everything Epic Games is going to do a reboot of a game from 8th Summit called Agents of Smersh. And this is called Epic Edition, Agents of Smersh Epic Edition. And this is coming into retail in March of this year, so right around the corner. This is a narrative storytelling game, and it says that they've made a couple of changes. They've streamlined it, it says they've changed how intel works. It's no longer a win condition, but something that players collect to find the locations of henchmen and eventually Dr. Lobo. It has a makeover with fresh graphics and a new box cover. I had not played Agents of Smersh. Have either of you?
No, I think it's like a Tales of the Arabian Nights type game, isn't it?
I believe that's correct.
That's my understanding,
yeah. I believe Tom has played it. I was waiting to get confirmation. I don't know. It says it's going into retail for $129. So, there's a pretty hefty price point to this. I assume if it's going to have that kind of a price point, that it's probably going to have, a fair number of components. Now, I don't know if this has like a storybook. I
think it's a big book. I think
yeah.
I'm going off complete ignorance here. I'll be interested to see if there's still a market for this type of game. This became popular about 10 years ago, wasn't it? Is that 8?
Dan, I don't know. I think it's never been more popular than right now. I think it's never been more popular. You've got Sleeping Gods, you've got Tainted Grail, you've got a lot of games that are really leaning into this narrative experience.
I suppose so.
Yeah. I mean,
it might benefit
Seventh Continent. I mean, there's a lot of games that are doing this type of thing.
Maybe you're right. Maybe maybe it's me who's behind the times. Yes.
And there's not many
make no mistake, Dan. You're behind the times.
And there's not many with this theme. I think hopefully that's a good standout thing for them, right? Because there's not a lot of I mean, I love this cover. I actually do. And it's obvious allusions to, a couple of big properties and Mission Impossible, Kill Bill and stuff. But I think it leans into that kind of goofy 1960s espionage thing pretty well.
Yeah.
If it can be actually streamlined, despite being an epic edition, then I might be interested. But I'm worried that it's just going to be bloated, especially with that price point. If they said, "Hey, this is an $80 box," I might say maybe they really did try to actually make things streamlined and playable. But I'm worried that this is going to be a table hog. But we'll see when it comes out.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm with you, though, Chris. I dig the vibe, and I like the theme. All right. We're marking the end of a product line, gentlemen. Mantic Games announces the end of the Walking Dead miniatures game on March 31st of this year. And so back in January of 2016, Mantic got the rights to make the Walking Dead miniatures from Skybound. And then it was launched on Kickstarter in February of that year. It did quite well. It's been in retail for many, many years. And now they've told fans that there's going to be a 3-month window to order the remainder of their stock off their website. After March 31st, all of the Walking Dead miniatures products are going to be removed from the website, and there'll be no more new releases. So I do think that I appreciate when a product line ends, especially one that's been around for, over 6 years now, thereabouts, that they kind of give consumers a heads up and say, hey, look, we're ending. Now obviously you can look at it from the other end and say, hey, they want to offload whatever merchandise they have. But I'm going to choose to look at it. Yeah, I'm going to choose to look at it from a more optimistic point of view and say, hey, we're letting people know if they've been collecting these, just know that we're not making them anymore. If you want them, here's your chance. Go in and do that. And so if you're a fan of the game and you did want to get in on this, you probably need to do it quickly. Yeah. I do think it's interesting. I wonder if The Walking Dead as an IP is starting to go the way of things like Game of Thrones, where I feel like that IP is going downhill. You know what I'm getting at? Where it's kind of out of the zeitgeist.
Yeah, well, the comics stopped a while ago, and
Right.
I think the TV series is coming to a close. Is it? I'm not actually sure. I don't watch the TV show.
I'm not sure, honestly.
I played this
I
game.
don't either.
It's really good.
Yeah.
This game. And in actual fact, I'm playing it next week.
Okay.
So it's a really solid game. So as a skirmish game, I think you can play it as a mass war game as well. But I've only ever played it as a skirmish game. So yeah, it's good. It's a good game. Yeah. Shame it's going.
All right, Dan, this next piece of news is going to be near and dear to your heart. This is something that I know you're going to have a close personal connection to. And that's because it's a new game called Fish and Chips, Dan.
Yeah.
I'm excited about this one.
That is the quintessential British food. Am I right? If anybody who is not British comes to the UK, what's the first thing they want to do, Dan?
Well, they may want to get fish and chips. Yeah, the most popular dish in the UK is chicken madras, I think, or chicken masala, an Indian dish. But yes, fish and chips is a stereotypical British dish. I'm not sure it's this kind of fish and chips though.
Now I gotta say, this is a dexterity game.
Every illusion I have about England, Dan.
That's correct. You've ruined everything. This is a dexterity game, and it's coming from Studio H, and I've been really impressed with some Studio H releases. So this looks very silly. It says players team up and assume the role of seabirds trying to snap up fish on the beach by players tossing chips of different value onto a beach playmat, which is divided into zones. This looks very bright and colorful and silly. It's 15 to 20 minutes long, retailing for about $30. I would absolutely play this game. I'm looking forward to trying it out. Hopefully we get a chance to take a look at it. It looks really silly.
Yeah, hands down, I'm in.
It looks fun. There was that other chip throwing game. It was set in about Indian spices, and that was really good as well. Was it Sagrada or something like? I can't remember.
It just got rethemed to hibachi, I believe. Right?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Oh, so direct competitor. So
yeah, indeed. All right, coming up next, we've got a couple of games from the Bananagrams company. This one is called Germs, and a light strategy tile placement game. All right, now here's the thing. This might be a fine little mass market type game. It's a shame. Like, I feel like you almost can't do these themes right now. You know what I mean?
I don't know. They seem to be selling. I'm not sure. I don't know what the numbers are on them, but we covered in the news a few months back. Stuff like the Plague Inc. video game board game or something like that. This Life Goes. Messina just came out. Messina 1348 about the bubonic plague. I mean, it's not something that attracts me at this moment, but I think that if it's a good game, I'll play it. It's not
still playing Pandemic. I mean, so I guess I just hope that for stuff like this, where it's like, I'm sure that this theme and everything has been in the planning stages, and games don't go from conception to table in the matter of weeks or months. I mean, so hopefully if it's a good game, it'll still get the audience. But this is the first one, and then we also have Word a Melon, all right, which is a word search game. Now, here's the thing. Both of these are clearly mass market games, and it says they're both retailing for $9.99, right? So these are not, they're not being marketed probably as much to the hobby gamers, but hey, a lot of people play these type of games. I hope they're good. Bananagrams is a very popular game. You know what I mean? So...
And both these look really nice for a $10 game as well.
Like $10, right?
I mean, that Word-a-Melon looks. Yeah, it looks nice. You wouldn't be. Yeah, you'd be pleased to get that out, I think. Yeah.
It looks like it has recessed boards for the chips to go into, so they don't fly around. That's not something you would have seen 5 years ago for a mass market game.
Absolutely. Earlier in the news, we had a story about Magic the Gathering, right? Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I remember.
The designer of Magic the Gathering, Richard Garfield, is getting into the roll and write business.
He's desperate for that cash. He needs to get that easy roll and write money. I've heard he's on these uppers. You
Richard
told me,
Garfield.
Mike. You told me he's got
Yeah.
no money left. That's what you said to me. You
Is
said
that
that's
what I
what
said?
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Wow.
We'll
I
throw out
tell
the
you
word
a lot of things
allegedly.
I don't remember, Dan. This is a common thread here. Ravensburger, North America, is going to release Dungeons, Dice, and Danger, a roll and write game that's coming. This is coming directly into retail in March. So a low retail price, $25, 30 to 45 minutes. I must say, look. We've talked many times on this channel, and I've seen it elsewhere in the board game world, that roll and writes is becoming a very, very saturated genre, if not oversaturated. But I have to admit, I am interested to see what a designer like Richard Garfield is going to do in this space.
And I also think that Dungeons is a great theme for a roll and write.
We've seen a number of those. We've seen Paper Dungeons, Scribble. I can't remember what it's called, but we've seen a few of these. But I wonder what this riff is going to be on it.
Yeah. 2 years ago I joked like, oh, you don't see any Ameritrash themed roll and write games, and now they're happening, and I'm glad for that. So it's different than put numbers in colored boxes. Like you said, the design pedigree of Richard Garfield is exciting. This is an Aaliyah Ravensburger game that does not look like Carpe Diem, so I'm excited.
That's true. That is true. All right, this next piece of news is just coming from a Twitter announcement, and this is from North Star Games. Starting in 2022, Mattel, the massive board game company and toy company, now has the worldwide rights to Wits and Wagers and Say Anything. So, I think this is big news, and because Mattel obviously is going to have their distribution in places that are not going to only be carrying kind of hobby board games. And Wits and Wagers and Say Anything are great party games that, have been around for years and have built up a very solid reputation in the hobby board game space. And so now, hopefully, this means more people will get a chance to play these fantastic, fantastic party games.
Yeah. They've graduated into the mainstream now, haven't they? They're no longer in the hobby games category. They're straight into the mainstream, just completely fully now, and that's good. I imagine that's good for everybody. I imagine it's good for North Star. Right? I imagine it's good for people who are playing at Mattel and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, if it still has that North Star logo on it, especially because then. Sure. When you have a game that you really love and you see a little logo, a company name or something like that, you say, what else have they done? I think that's good. That's really good.
Yeah.
All right, and finally, we're going to end with obscure British news that two people care about. That's not true. Although it is British. Games Workshop founder, now Sir Ian Livingstone, receives knighthood. Wow. So Ian Livingstone, the founder of Games Workshop, will now be known as Sir Ian Livingstone, as he was bestowed a knighthood via the Queen's New Year Honor List 2022.
Yeah.
Dan, you actually brought this to my attention, but I have since seen it in other areas. So I wasn't going to take your word for it that this is actually news. I had to get confirmation, and yes, I got confirmation that it actually still means something to be knighted by the Queen. So Dan, what lead us on this story?
My instant reaction is absolute outrage that I've been overlooked yet again, Mike. Yet again. Last year I wasn't even on it, and this year I'm not even on it. It's all I want. Just an OBE or something like that. Just a little bit of recognition for everything I've done for the world. That's all I'm asking for. No, Ian Livingstone is really a giant within gaming. Not only Games Workshop, which is a massive corporation and manufactures all its games in the UK and stuff like that. So that's a huge boon to the country. But he also created. He was behind the creation of Tomb Raider, another massive IP.
Yeah.
Sure. He's a and Hitman, I think, as well. So
he was a hitman. That's really impressive, Dan.
Yeah, Hitman. Well, yeah.
That's what Dan has said to me many times. Yes.
Yeah. Well, when you become a sir, when you become a knight, you have to actually then take on the kind of the protectorate of the Queen. So he goes off to foreign countries and assassinates people.
Does he have to protect the Queen's swans, Dan?
Yes. Got to protect the swans. Yes, that's it.
When are we going to get some American-centric, honorifics in the news here? When are we going to talk about the esteemed Reverend Thomas Vassal or Mike DiLisio Esquire?
I think everyone could be. I'm an Esquire. I think anyone could be an Esquire. I think it's just a name you put if you're over the age of 18. I think so.
Yeah, I want to say that I am actually a British lord, Chris. I don't know if you knew that. I told Dan this, but yes, I am a British lord because my sons, for my birthday, I believe it was, got me I don't know, some small amount of British land that I am a lord over. So yes, I expect the next time that I visit Britain to be bestowed with all of the privileges that are granted to me with my lordship status, Dan.
However many swans fit in your 1 square foot of
that's
property.
it. Yes. However many swans you can get in the overhead compartment, you can take back to the USA. Yeah.
Don't try that at home, kids. No, not suitable for swans.
But really, this is very exciting news for Games Workshop, Ian Livingstone, and everything.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's no longer owns Games Workshop. I think he sold it in 1991. But if anyone's interested in an interview with him, he went on the 5 Games for Doomsday podcast. But very recently. So and he talks about the founding of Games Workshop as well as his other things. So yeah,
that's awesome.
And then he still plays hobby board games and things like that. So yeah, it's just nice to see somebody who's really made it in the gaming industry kind of getting recognized in the mainstream, really, you know.
Very, very cool. Yeah. Ben Maddox does that podcast, also does our Design Notes show on the Dice Tower. So, all right, well, that was the news, gentlemen. We're going to take a look at a couple more contributors, and then we'll be back to wish everyone a fond farewell. So let's check out these contributors.
This is a segment where we take a look at a board game based on an IP, and I tell you if the IP and the mechanisms match. Today we're looking at Grim Masquerade. The game will be played over 3 rounds. Each round, the person that either gets 3 of their artifacts or is the last person that hasn't been revealed will gain roses, which will increase after each round. Whoever has the most roses after 3 rounds will be the winner of the game. Each player will be given a character randomly at the start of the game. You will keep this character hidden from all other players, but you're allowed to look at it anytime you want. I'm going to place it face up just for illustration purposes. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to collect 3 of the disguises in order to win. But if I receive 2 cauldrons, I will lose and have to reveal immediately. Or I can just be the last person who hasn't revealed. Reveal everybody else but yourself, and you can also win. Then what I'm going to do on a turn is I'm going to draw 1 card. I can either keep this card or give it to one of the people I'm playing with. Let's say I choose to give this to another person at the table. That means the second card, I must now do the opposite of what I did the first time. The first time I gave the card away, so now I must take the random card in my hand. That can be dangerous at times. So as the game continues around, everybody will take their turn. Grim Masquerade takes the Grimm Fairy Tales, intellectual property, if you will, and puts it on a deduction game. Now, while I think this game is beautiful, fun, exciting, and one I really do like, I don't really feel like the IP works very well. Although some of the cards that match up and against the characters do make a lot of sense, but why are all these Grimm Fairy Tale characters at a ball and you're trying to figure out who is who and who did what, etc.? Doesn't make a lot of sense. Now, sometimes the IP is kind of thrown on just for the artwork and stuff, and I think that is the case here. Now, while this is what I feel like is a very good game and a very fun game, the IP doesn't really work with it. Why did they put Grimm Fairy Tale in this? Probably just to sell a few copies or make it noticeable, or maybe they had some artwork around. But in the regard of whether the IP and the mechanisms match, absolutely not. This is one I would say be a total miss on that regard.
Hi, I'm Jordan. This is Weeknight Games, where I talk about a game to play on a weeknight. Now, I recently went to PAX Unplugged, and I was able to see a lot of cool people and play some cool games and learn about some new stuff coming out. But one of the games that I came home with that I did not know this game existed was a game called Chiseled, and this is from a new company called Copper Frog Games. And Chiseled is a what they call a deck sculpting card game. And so instead of a deck building game where you're adding cards to your deck to do more things as the game goes on, you're actually trying to remove as many cards as you can from this your given deck of cards, because you only want certain cards at the end of the game. You are making a stat. You have a block of marble in front of you and you are chipping away at it to remove different body parts, and that's what you have left over. And so in this game, there's going to be different action cards out on the table. As you take an action card, you will then be able to do what it says and trash cards or move cards around your little area in front of you, and ultimately try to get your deck down and thin it out as best you can. And you only, at the end of the game, you want maybe even number of arms, that kind of thing. You want certain things in your deck that's left over. I think it plays really well, and it's one that it's kind of taken to us, and I really enjoy this one. It was not one that I was expecting, because of course I didn't know it existed, and as it was being explained to me, it was kind of like, really? That I didn't know that would work, and it really does, and it's really an interesting kind of game. So that is Chiseled. I really enjoy this one. It was really, really kind of a cool game. I'm Jordan. Thanks.
And that's another Pirate Board Game Breakfast in the books, folks. Thank you so much for joining us. And although we are finishing up, there's a lot more great content on the channel, so keep watching. As a matter of fact, we've got a top 10 going up in just a little bit, Chris. What do we got happening?
That's right. It's going to be the A team. So Roy Cannaday, Wendy Yee, Chris Yee, myself, and Camilla Cleghorn are going to be doing our top 10 anticipated games of 2022. That'll be at noon Eastern Standard Time, or Eastern whatever time this is. So that's in just under 2 hours. And then at 2 o'clock, 2 hours after that, Roy will be doing his Q&A today. So a lot of live stuff going up today.
Yeah.
I'm going to be watching that top 10 with my big list of grudges. Ready for anyone who doesn't say the word Cora Quest at number 1. Just saying, Chris. Just say there's time to change your list now. That's all I'm saying.
Well, if it had delivered, it would have been my anticipated game of 2021, Dan. But that's out of here.
That's harsh. That is harsh, man.
And it is too late for him to change the list, Dan, because I had to build the PowerPoint. So it's too late. It's too late. Anyway, folks, thank you so much for watching. As always, stick around to the Dice Tower. We have some great stuff going up. Until then, I am Mike DiLisio.
I'm Chris Yee.
I'm Dan Hughes.
And you've been watching Pirate Board Game Breakfast. Arr.
Arr.